Sup guys, I'm another Metal I'm doing 150 classic albums by the end of the year, and I'm also doing Patreon requests. This is luckily both because I have some really lovely patrons over at my Patreon that have requested Bruce Springsteen quite regularly, which I'm massively appreciative for because I've loved all of Bruce's albums so far. I started off with Born in the USA, and I absolutely adore it, and I also find it quite cute and nice that a lot of people in the comments seem to have gotten warmer feelings towards Born in the USA because I had no idea that amongst Bruce Springsteen fans, Born in the USA, despite being the most popular um radio darling of all of the albums, is the one that Bruce Springsteen fans out of like the classic 7-8 album run don't love the most. And I'm glad that I'm reinvigorating that in some people. And then I listened to Born to Run, which is considered usually his magnum opus by critics and stuff, and I can definitely see that. Absolutely love that album as well. Darkness on the Edge of Town might be my favorite album. I'm pretty sure it is my favorite album of all of his. I feel like it blends the perfect, like darker energy of some of like Nebraska, some of like the, I don't know, craftsmanship of Born to Run with the theatrics of Born in the USA. I think it's like a perfect combination of all of his sounds. And then I listened to Nebraska, which I really did love. I really loved a lot. I think rating wise, it's my lowest, but I don't care because the way that I do ratings here, if you haven't seen my channel before, I do ratings with track averages. That's how I do the album ratings. And sometimes there are just some albums that won't have the same high level of average, but I do like specific songs more. Like I care more about, I guess, like Father's House being a track that is made and like the deep personal bonds and stuff like that that he is showcasing in all of his stories and all of that when it comes to Nebraska itself, all of these little tidbits. I appreciate that a bit more than some of the straight like poppy sort of tunes or rock tunes off of like even Darkness on the Edge of Town, even though that's my favorite album. So sometimes the track averages and the ratings are a bit off compared to how much I appreciate them, but it's the only way I can make it seem pretty succinct and consistent for me. The River, coming into this album, I'm quite curious about it because this one is considered, the way that I get the vibe for this album is that this is Born in the USA for Bruce Springsteen fans. Like this is the one that has all of like the hits that Bruce Springsteen fans love. And I'm curious to jump into this. I thought that it was a lot shorter than it was. I didn't realize it was a double album that was 20 tracks long. I think just due to the fact that that is the case, averages are going to be a bit lower. So this might even end up being my lowest rated album of Bruce Springsteen. But that, as I said before, doesn't really indicate how much I love the album, just how I do the ratings and all of that. But yeah, I'm curious to jump into this one because it is quite a beloved album. It's probably the one that's actually mentioned the most in my comments throughout all of the Bruce Springsteen journey. So yeah. I'm curious to jump into it. Let's go. Mm. Mm. Oh, there's like a cuteness to it. It's not like as grand and opulent, but it still has like the poppy, like, joyous energy. That's cute. Ooh. Ooh. This feels so stripped back. Is the E Street Band still playing the saxophone? And if not, who is playing it? Because this doesn't have the same like band feel of his usual stuff. Like this feels more in line with Nebraska, which makes sense because it came out just before. But it's just not as like dark or gloomy. I love his voice. Always will, and always have. Like the way that he like gargles, and like it's like the way he puts strain on and everything is just incredible. There's such an interesting, like, hopeful energy. And considering that the only album that I've heard that it strips everything back as much as this one is Nebraska, it's interesting to hear, like, a more brighter version of these sounds. Because the only glimpses you kind of get of that in Nebraska is Atlantic City. And that's still, despite, I think, not having any of the Street Band or anything like that, it's incorporates, like, it injects that opulence into the track still. Well, like, this one feels like it doesn't try and mimic the E Street Band that much. It has, like, the brightness that the E Street Band mixed with Bruce Springsteen gives, but it doesn't try and inject that opulence and everything. It's interesting. If you haven't watched one of my videos before, what I was mentioning before about my ratings, I do ratings on the side. These are my first listen ratings. I listen to these projects multiple times over before I post them to my Discord, where you can chat to me about my ratings. It's basically a community server that you can talk to me and everyone else in there, about 500 people now. And I post it to Album of the Year, which is the music rating website that I use. I write written reviews for them. It says 600 over there. I have about 1,000 now. Before this channel started, I listened about 20 albums front to back across my entire life. I never heard Nevermind by Nirvana. I never heard any Black Sabbath. I never heard any of that. I just listened to the stuff that I liked, which was Linkin Park, Bring Me the Horizon, a bit of Deftones, that sort of thing. And I made this channel so I can explore more music, because I listened to like 100,000 minutes of music in a year on Spotify. And that's, if you know math of like years and times and stuff like that, that's 500,000 minutes in a year. So literally a fifth of my life, or maybe even a third of my waking life, I was listening to music. But I just never explored outside of the stuff that I listened to. So I started this channel to explore all of that, and it's been absolutely fucking amazing. I love it. But yeah, over there, my average rating is a 6 out of 10. I solely think that's because I'm doing only Patreon requests at the moment. My Patreon has grown quite a lot, and I absolutely appreciate it a lot. Did not expect it to happen. This was just an excuse for me to listen to albums and make it feel productive, because I don't feel like I can have free time unless I put something like this related to it. Like, I have another hobby, which is I played games when I was like 16 to 20 something. I've stopped now because I'm starting a life with my partner and stuff like that. But I recorded all of my gameplay and then uploaded that because I felt like I needed some sort of like profit incentive or something to showcase that that is productive. And I did the same thing with this. So I never ever thought that I would get the support that I got on this channel, but I absolutely love and appreciate it. And because of that, I have about 150 subs on Patreon that all spend about $5 a month or $8 a month, depending on what they want to do. $5 gives you an album request, which means that I can get up to 150 requests in a month, so I can't listen to anything outside of that, which means that when someone is requesting an album, it's most likely going to be something I enjoy, especially because I've loved Bruce Springsteen, so people want to request more Bruce Springsteen, and he gets like 9s and 10s, so my average is a bit skewed that way. But I think spiritually I have a 5 out of 10, because if something's a 5.1, I think it's above average. With all that being said, though, I think this is, I would say for the moment, it's like an 8. I think it's quite a great track. I think it's quite interesting. Because of where it places sonically within Bruce Springsteen's catalog, because it is before the very stripped back Nebraska, but it's right off Darkness on the Edge of Town, and you kind of can just feel it. And it's crazy how much evolution he seems to have across those albums. Like, you have the piano rock sort of 70s. I haven't heard the 1973 album yet, with, I don't remember, it's like the Wild Innocent Ones or something like that. Haven't heard that one yet, but I heard Born to Run and Darkness on the Edge of Town. They seem to have like a piano rock sort of Elton John-y sort of vibe to it. And it's interesting to see the evolution now with the river into Nebraska, where Nebraska feels a lot more Bob Dylan-ish with his like storytelling and folksy sort of stuff. And hearing this, it feels like the bridging gap between that, which is really interesting to me. Also on the album rating stuff, as I said, 20 albums before this channel, but I've had this channel for about a year. I've listened to 1,200 albums now, so that's a 6 out of 10 average over 1,200 albums. But yeah, great track. Curious to see where it goes in the future. I like the way he's talking about the topics that he's talking about on there. He has a very strong like ethos of like working class plight that he talks about, and then with a very like bold authenticity with how he deals, like talks about mental health struggles and stuff like that, which I really love, especially with like the very healthy masculinity he sort of embodies. That's a big reason why I love Bruce Springsteen and his songwriting. The songwriting on this track is spectacular, but the way he's engaging in this topic, which he could play darker than he does, like the way he's talking about like we're basically on the end of a road, but we'll find our way through the long dark highway, all that sort of stuff. That sounds like a lyric that could be off Nebraska, but he injects it with such hopefulness with the way that it performs it, which is just an interesting way of grappling with this. Yeah, I like it. I really love this. The sax solo is really sick. Oh, he's vocal. His lyrics are just so nice. Like as a storyteller, he's incredible. I love this song. I like how much time they give to the sax solo. Like, this is a pretty succinct track, like just 4 minutes, and you have like about like a minute of sax solo, and then you also have like the extra like 20-30 seconds of, like in the middle. I really love that. That's it. I think this track's just amazing. I love the tone of the entire song. Like the way his storytelling is just so crazy good to me. I've been listening to Bob Dylan alongside Bruce Springsteen, and I can see obviously where Bruce Springsteen gets his influence from when it comes to Bob Dylan. The storytelling, the way that he tells a narrative and everything feels very Bob Dylan-esque. And it was like the thing that blew me away about Bob Dylan's work was looking at like, oh, he came from like the mid-60s. For my generation, if I'm being honest, and I want to learn more about this, music for us seems to not start until late 60s. Like, conceptually music, when I look into music databases, when I look at music reviewing sites, all that sort of stuff, it kind of just sounds like music doesn't start until the Beatles and Bob Dylan. I know that's not the case. I know there's Elvis Presley before then. I know there's Frank Sinatra before then. I know there's Chuck Berry. I know there's a whole lot of R&B singers that will be before that as well. But they're never spoken about. I don't ever hear about them. I hear of the Beatles. And the thing that really blew me away about Bob Dylan was at the time of Rubber Soul coming out, which is a lot of these very textured sort of jingles, I think, like that sort of vibe. You had Bob Dylan's incredible expansive songwriting and storytelling that like expanded over 15 minutes, 16 minutes of tracks on like Highway 61 Revisited. And that blew me away, especially with the detail and beauty of his instrumentation, everything like that. But what I find it very interesting about Bruce Springsteen is he doesn't take the long, expansive route to tell his narrative. It doesn't take 16 minutes for him to do a track that expands on a world that feels low-key just as big when it comes to Sherry Darling here. It's 4 minutes where a third of that is sax solo, but he's still able to build the same world. It's like he's really condensed that narrative into beautiful like pop tracks, which is, I don't know, just incredible. Like pop songwriting now feels like it is chorus trying to get a hook, that sort of thing, make it feel very catchy towards you, where he has that sheen of a pop star in a way with like how catchy his melodies and songs are, but every single track he's telling a story behind the lyrics in a very substantive manner, like quite in depth as well. Like the world he's building on this track is incredible. And this is like what I was, I guess, like alluding to from before, where as much as I think this might end up not being as highly rated for me as a lot of the other a lot of the other albums, I love what he's doing here quite a bit. The same way I loved what he was doing on Nebraska. The way that he is infusing this very depressing sort of story, but there's like a tongue-in-cheek nature of it by making it so poppy and kind of opulent, but not in the same way that like Born in the USA is. The way he's like talking about a lot of the plights here, but with this bright sheen to it, it shows a hopefulness in a way, or like a biting critique or a satire on it, of like the mask that you have to put on when you're dealing with this sort of overbearing mother, where on the next album it's kind of detailing very similar stories and plights that he is showcasing on these tracks, but all of that hope sucked out of it on Nebraska. Yeah, and just seeing that, it means more to me than like a really amazing pop tune, even if I might listen to pop tune more.
Driving home, she left something to eat. Turns a corner and drives down the street to her old house, and she just smells of wood like the scenery in a middle man's bed. Into a house where
Oh, I love this song.
the keeps saying things she don't wanna know. She pulls her blinds and looks out on the street. The cooler of the night takes the edge off the you've been judged and hanged and laid down in the Jackson cage. Every day ends in wasted motion. Just cross swords on the killing floor. Settle back is to settle without knowing the heartaches that you're settling for. Because there's always just one more day, and it's always gonna be that way. Girl, you've been down here so long, I can tell by the way that you move, you belong to the Jackson cage. Down in Jackson cage. And it don't matter just what you say, are you tough enough to play the game that play? Will you just do your time and fade away down into the Jackson cage?
I adore this track.
Maybe there's nights when I dream of a better world, but I wake up so downhearted, girl. I see you feeling so tired and confused. I wonder what it's worth to me. Just waiting to see some sun.
This is my favorite track on the album so far.
You left alone standing out on the street till you become the hand that turns the key down in Jackson cage. Down in Jackson cage. Oh, darling, can you understand the way that they will turn a man into a stranger to waste away down in the Jackson cage?
Like, yeah, this track's a 10. I'll talk more about that in a sec, but one of the things I massively appreciate about Bruce Springsteen that I mentioned before is the way that he like embodies a very healthy masculinity that still shows vulnerability, that like you can still be a guy that has like struggles that you're able to talk about, but like he still is a guy, like he's still through and through has these masculine features, that sort of thing. And one of the and I've seen mostly that, I feel, where he's talking about like male working class issues, that sort of stuff, like talking more from that lens, which makes sense. What I really like about this song is like the empathy that he's showcasing in like this story about talking about a girl being in the same place and like a working class environment, how suffocating that is for her as well, which is something that like when I am like I guess taught, or what I see from like older media and stuff like that, is it could be incorrect, but it's sort of these stories that are very male focused when it comes to plights like this, where like the story will focus on, let's say, a guy that has issues with working class issues, but they won't, and that is like perfectly fine and dandy, but like they weren't many stories about women that go through that sort of thing, or if there is, I didn't see them, or I didn't know about them, or I wasn't said that they were ones like that. And that wasn't a fault of like them just necessarily hating women or anything like that. They just didn't think of it through that lens. But Bruce Springsteen is such like an empathetic person that the way that he shines light on so many different people within society and writes about them, like especially on Nebraska, when he's even writing from a somewhat empathetic, not super empathetic because of the actions, but like somewhat empathetic lens of like the mass killer on like the first track, like the title track. The way that he has this very deep empathy that he's able to show in songwriting is really cool. And it reminds me of like, a lot of stories now, not to get like political or whatever, but like a lot of stories now are people trying to do this representation thing where like they're talking about like they're trying to show like male issues, but like women can face them too. This does this, but I don't think anyone will have a problem with this track. But people have a problem with it now. And like, I guess my understanding is it feels like a lot of these stories didn't necessarily exist back then. They kind of don't exist now, but they're getting like, people feel like they're getting pushed or forced upon us. And it's like me wanting to dissect why that is the case. Like when something like this, why does it feel so not pushy? Where today when they're trying to do something, why does it feel pushy? I think it's just like this amorphous blob of like authenticity. Does it come across as authentic? Because funnily enough, like one of the shows that I watched growing up with my mum that I absolutely loved was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of people that are like, even like right wing, like incredibly right wing, that love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, despite it being in a very explicitly, extremely progressive left wing show. And I wonder why something like that media, something like this song, can show decent, like good representation of like women in male issues of like working class stuff. Like that's the sort of like the men are the providers, the women are the nurturers at home, that sort of thing. Why it can show like a woman in a male field, which is cringe, but like male field, experiencing these issues and it not be considered pushy or pandery or anything like that, but like something like today feels that way. Just yeah, like where does that disconnect sort of come from? And why is that sort of the case? Because this just feels really cool. Like I don't see a lot of, so far I haven't delved into a shit ton, but like I don't see a lot of tracks detailing stuff like this, especially for women, especially in like the early, like late 70s, early 80s. It's kind of very, I don't know, it's just neat as fuck. I like a growing theme that like unity, relationships are way through this like trouble sort of time. There's a strong reoccurring motif of that. I haven't watched the movie. I really want to. Everyone says that I need to watch it. And I come on. But I'm so curious what happened between the river and Nebraska for the hopeful energy to get sucked away. Like, I'm gonna give this an 8, knowing full well that I'm pretty sure that, like, Ties That Bind is a track that I prefer a bit more than Two Hearts. So on a re-listen, this might go up. But I'm very curious about what changed between the river and Nebraska, where, like, this one talks about the same, like, a lot of the same plights that goes on in Nebraska that he talks about. But has a much more hopeful tone, and it has this, like, oh, if I don't know, if you work together, if you have this unity, these two hearts are better than one, we can get through this. What happened for it to get sucked away? That sort of hopefulness to get sucked away. And then what happened in Born in the USA for it to kind of come back? Yeah, I'm curious. This sounds gorgeous. And like quite unique.
Papa, go to bed now. It's getting late. Nothing we can say is gonna change anything now. I'll be leaving in the morning from St. Mary's Gate. We wouldn't change this thing even if we could somehow. 'Cause the darkness of this house has got the best of us. There's a darkness in this town that's got us too. But they can't touch me now, and you can't touch me now. They ain't gonna do to me what I watch them do to you. So say goodbye, it's Independence Day. It's Independence Day all down the line. Just say goodbye, it's Independence Day. It's Independence Day this time. Now I don't know what it always was with us. We chose the words, and yeah, we drew the lines. There was just no way that this house could hold the two of us. I guess that we were just too much of the same kind. Well, say goodbye, it's Independence Day. It's Independence Day, all boys must run away. So say goodbye, it's Independence Day. All men must make their way from Independence Day.
This is such like a perfect like Bruce Springsteen tender track.
Now the rooms are all empty down at Frankie's joint. In the highway she's deserted, clear down to Breaker's Point. There's a lot of people leaving town now, leaving their friends, their homes. At night they walk that dark and dusty highway all alone. Oh, Papa, go to bed now, it's getting late. Nothing we can say can change anything now. This is just different people coming down here now, and they see things in different ways. And soon everything we've known will just be swept away. So say goodbye, it's Independence Day. Papa, now I know the things you wanted that you could not say. But won't you just say goodbye, it's Independence Day. I swear I never meant to take those things away.
Yeah, like the level of heart and like, I don't know, empathy and tenderness that he shows is just... it just makes me love his music so much. Just a stunning track. Ooh, there's like a funk. Like that song.
Everybody's got a hungry heart.
There's a nice funk to it.
Everybody's got a hungry heart. Lay down your money and you play your part. Everybody's got a hungry heart. I met her in a Kingstown bar. We fell in love, I knew it had to end. We took what we had and we ripped it apart. Now here I am down in Kingstown again. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Lay down your money and you play your part. Everybody's got a hungry heart.
The way this is like the most. Oh, I really like this. The way this is the most like poppy sort of track, but he still has such incredible songwriting, world building. He gives me such a vivid imagination. This is a gorgeous.
Needs a place to rest. Everybody wants to have a home. Don't make no difference what nobody says. Ain't nobody like to be alone. Well, everybody's got a hungry heart. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Lay down your money and you play your part. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Oh yeah. Everybody's got a hungry heart.
It's just such a different style of trapping. I can definitely see why people have like the River as their favorite Bruce Springsteen album, because I don't think there's any track like Hungry Heart on other albums that I've heard. Like it's a very unique type of sound. I didn't realize that like Bruce Springsteen in my mind, without ever hearing like half of the song, like 99.9% of the songs that I'm hearing now, I feel like he defined the 80s sound to me in a lot of ways. Like apart from like the hair metal, that sort of thing, like the actual like pop tunes, I guess, sort of like the rockier pop tunes. I don't know what necessarily, but like he just defines the 80s to me. I really like I don't know, like the way that this track is just such a pop tune means that it doesn't have as much time to be able to like bear out the details a bit more about the story, but like the story that it is detailing is quite interesting to me. It feels like a bit of a thesis statement if I'm reading it correctly, because if I take out the choruses and just like read like the verses, it's like he has a wife and kids, he left, he fell in love, but he knew it had to end. That's like him, what caused it. And then the next part is like, ain't nobody like to be alone. There's a bit of a jump there, but I guess like it kind of seems like it promotes the same thesis across this entire thing, that even if there is I don't know, like he's saying we ripped it apart, and then like now that I'm all alone, kind of like I don't know, reiterating the thesis that like working together in a union, like two hearts, that sort of thing, is the way to get through this sort of depression, which I didn't know much about the 80s. He has a lot of conversations about a depression, like economic turmoil and that sort of thing. But in my brain, maybe I just am stupid, but like in my brain, I was like, post World War II, there's the baby boomer stuff that blows up the American economy. They end up being the biggest like economy in the world. I thought it was like relative prosperity until like the 90s, and then crime went up a lot, and then there was still economic prosperity. And then you had like the global financial crisis, because in like the way everything's spoken about is like there's like the Great Depression and baby boomer explosion all the way until the global financial crisis, and that's when it like all hits, like gets crashed back down. But I swear, if I remember correctly, there was like the recessions and like Jimmy Carter stuff, but like I don't know how bad those recessions were, because I know the global financial crisis because Australia did really fucking well in it. It was the only time our dollar was better than America's. because we were the only ones that did well in it. And then everyone copied us in COVID. But we both you had I lived through Great Depression and COVID. Not the Great Depression, global financial crisis and COVID. Were recessions back in like the 70s, 80s, and not potentially 90s? I'm not sure if the 90s, because I know that Bill Clinton like had a budget surplus and that sort of thing. So I don't know if there was a recession in the 90s. But what was the recessions as large as the global financial crisis? That doesn't sound like it would be necessarily true. But was it I don't think it was as large as COVID, right? Like, how big were recessions during like the Jimmy Carter era? Yeah, and I think maybe Reagan had some recessions, but yeah, I'm just curious because he talks about it so deeply throughout his albums, but historically, with like what I know about it, it's like, what didn't you guys have it decently well economically? I know it's like localized where he's talking about like Nebraska, the Midwest, that sort of thing. Manufacturing fucked out there, like car ports in Detroit, Michigan, and all that sort of stuff. Like there's localized hurt, but was like a broad hurt, and how big and deep was that broad hurt? Because he talks about it a lot.
Put on your best dress, baby, and darling, fix your hair up right. 'Cause there's
This feels like such
a
quintessential Bruce Springsteen vocals.
way down beneath the neon lights all day. You've been working that hard line. Now tonight, you're gonna have a good time. I work 5 days a week, loading crates down on the dock. I take my hard-earned money and leave my girl down on the block. Monday when the foreman calls time, I've already got Friday on my mind. Well, now whistle blows, girl, I'm down the street. I'm home, I'm out of my work clothes. When I'm out on the street, oh, 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 I walk the way I wanna walk. When I'm out in the street, oh, 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 I talk the way I wanna talk. When I'm out in the street, when I'm out in the street. When I'm out in the street, girl, well, I never feel alone. When I'm out in the street, girl, in the crowd I feel at home. A black and white slave cruise by, and they're watching from the corner of their eye. But there ain't no doubt, further down here, we ain't gonna take what they're handing out. When I'm out in the street, oh, 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 I walk the way I wanna walk. When I'm out in the street, oh, 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 I talk the way I wanna talk. Baby, out in the street, I'm your sad and blue. Baby, out in the street, while we waiting for you.
Oh, exactly. Ah, sax. It's one of the things my mom talks about a lot, is missing the saxes from 80s music. It's kind of come back with the 70s and 80s, but it's so valid.
When my whistle blows, girl, I'm down the street. I'm home, I'm out of my work clothes. When I'm out in the street, oh, 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 I walk the way I wanna walk. When I'm out in the street, oh, 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 I talk the way I wanna talk. When I'm out in the street, oh, 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 pretty girls, they're all passing by. When I'm out in the street, oh, 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 I'm gonna whip you in the eye. Baby, out in the street, I just feel alright. Meet me out in the street, little girl, tonight. Go, meet me out in the street, meet me out in the street.
The authenticity that he just bleeds out. feels so unique the way he talks about like working class experiences. Like the way because it's something that I wouldn't even think about a song being made for. But then it's like, oh, he made one, and it's like, he gets it. Because, like, also, I'll give great to an amazing track. It might even go up on future listens. But, I know, like, just me talking to my roommates and stuff like that. I have someone that is a baker. I have another person that works in disability support. And the way that, like, talking about the freedom and just how happy you get when you get to have some days off. But then also, like, the mix of that, which I feel like is something that more Nebraska tone they would talk about, is the fact that, like, when we're all finished work, going, like, this is more depressing side of it, but, like, staying up too late and not getting enough sleep because you don't want to, like, complete your free time. So I even did that last night. Like, I wake up at, like, 8, and start recording and do all this stuff, and then I do uni work and journalism, all that sort of shit. Wake up at 8, start that. But I stayed up until 4 just because I didn't want the free time to end. And that feels like a more depressing side of that. But then also, yeah, I don't know, the way that feels like something that he would talk about in Nebraska. But like, yeah, I know we were talking about. I don't know. There's like something fatigue. Like there was like a term that one of them used, and I just don't hear necessarily songs made for that. And if it does, it feels pandery, where this Bruce Springsteen is always able to exude this authenticity to the things that he's talking about. Like, he fully gets it, sort of thing. Ooh, I love that guitar. I love it, vocals. No one has this voice. This is very, like, jingly. That was, like, talking about a bit with, like, the Beatles sort of stuff so far. Granted, these lyrics, that's oh, I love this. Like, the backing vocals are like that. That is just so nice. Oh, I love it. I can see why this is like the wither, like this is like Born in the USA for Bruce Springsteen fans. Where it's like these pop tunes, it's like brightness to it that they love more than Born in the USA, because it feels more rooted in his normal sound, like that Bruce Springsteen vibe. Where I view him as so synonymous with like the 80s wall of sound because of dancing and all that. He is that. I like that as well. But with this, it's like, this is Bruce Springsteen so deeply. Even though this is like the most popular version of the track that he's done. there's still so much Bruce Springsteen in there. Well, Born in the USA is like him being a superstar, like. Like, I think it's amazing. I love it. Like, even though it's like not as much deep track or anything like that, it's like his most vacant track that way. It just sounds so nice. And I can kind of find just the appreciation like that. So one of the reasons why I love Born in the USA. Granted, there's depth in Born in the USA, but I guess like Born in the USA, to relate it to another band I know, I guess, is like Green Day's American Idiot. Where like Green Day fans don't necessarily love American Idiot as much. Like they still like it, and still think it's a good album, but they like Dookie because that feels more like Green Day. And I can see that's kind of the same thing with like The River. That's more Bruce Springsteen. That's the Dookie, where American Idiot and Born in the USA are very similar. Also, funnily enough, I feel like they inhabit very similar sort of places as well. Like the way that the track American Idiot and a lot of the songs on American Idiot are used kind of got so big that their meaning was lost. The same way that Born in the USA had that effect as well. There's like even more similarities there than I first anticipated when I thought of that. But yeah, I can definitely see why this is like the go-to pop, so like the brighter sort of album, catchier album for Bruce Springsteen fans. I don't know, I like the topic and caring about boundaries sort of thing. I explain that. This is actually one of the lower tracks, despite I think thematically I like it. It's quite similar to Crush Me, but Crush Me has like a bit more, I don't know, it's a bit more enticing to me, like sonically. I still think it's a decent track with like section and stuff. I might give it a 6.5 because I do like this. I like that quite a bit. This one's interesting. Where I feel like Jackson Cage was viewing it more through the lens of like the plight that the woman was facing. This feels very savior complex for him. Because it's like they're not in a relationship. Because it's like you're working, raising two kids alone, sort of thing. It's interesting. It feels a lot more impulsive. Well, like the way he talks about it on Jackson Cage, it's like, I want to help you. I want to see what we like can do for each other, sort of thing. This one is just like, you're struggling. I'm impulsively wanting to marry you. I want you to be proud. I'd be proud if you would wear my name. Like all, it's like, it comes from a different. It feels like it comes from a different sort of place. It's not thinking through the lens of a partnership as much, more so it's like an ego, an expression of ego of like how having to like fix this situation or something like that. I still think it's a great song, by the way. Like, it's compelling. Oh, the river. It sounds really nice.
I come from down in the valley.
Ooh.
Where mister, when you're young, they bring you up to do like your daddy done. Me and Mary, we met in high school, and she was just 17. We drive out of this valley down to where the fields were green. We go down to the river, and into the river we dive.
This has like the craftsmanship of like a Born to Run track.
Then I got Mary pregnant, and man, that was all she wrote. And for my 19th birthday, I got a union card and a wedding coat. We went down to the courthouse, and the judge put it all to rest. No wedding day smiles, no walk down the aisle, no flowers, no wedding dress. That night we went down to the river, then into the river we dive. Oh, down to the river we did ride.
The River of Life. Having to be like plunged headfirst into it.
job working construction. For the
Yeah, this is probably the best track on the album today.
But lately there ain't been much work on account of the economy. Now all them things that seem so important, well, mister, they vanished right into the air. Now I just act like I don't remember. Mary acts like she don't care. But I remember us riding in my brother's car, her body tan and wet down at the reservoir. At night on them banks I'd lie awake and pull her close just to feel each breath she'd take. Now those memories come back to haunt me. They haunt me like a curse. Is a dream alive that don't come true? Or is it something
Is how much
that sends me
I've loved Bruce Springsteen and the songs. But this one feels like it embodies like how he pierces you deep in your chest. Like it's really like truly a magical storytelling. Like he can disarm you. Probably one of my favorite Bruce Springsteen songs. It's hard to even place what it is. Like what makes a track like this? What makes a track like Father's House? What makes a track like those? How does it? Why? Because you can talk about all of these topics in so many different ways, and it can be amazing in a lot of different ways. It could be a jaunty little tune, and that's the reason why it's amazing. It could be because his vocals are just so mesmerizing. But when it comes to storytelling, there's just sometimes he just has a track, and it just pierces deep, and it's like, what about it? Like, why is it culminating into you being able to just pierce so deeply? If you haven't watched one of my videos before, if you've watched my videos before, actually, it might seem like 11 out of 10 are quite common. It's just that's common with Bruce Springsteen a bit. For me, I've listened to probably like 25,000 songs, or rated 25,000 songs in the past year, and I have about 200 plus that are 11 out of 10. So like songs that I think are perfect, but like they have that magical quality. Like The River Here, it just pierces something deeper. It's like able to hit harder, but like it's doing it delicately. It's not like a gut punch and it's hitting. It's just like it's able to wiggle into your soul, sort of thing. And those tracks, I feel like, are the ones that are like, I give 11s. Where it's like, they deserve that extra point. And this is a very clear example of that. I have that sort of feeling when it comes to, like, Father's House. I have that sort of feeling when it comes to, for whatever reason, I'm blanking on a lot of tracks. I think maybe, is it Thunder Road or Backstreets or Jungletown? Actually, it might be all of them. Those just pierce. Darkness on the Edge of Town has a lot of them. Like, even the way he, like, I like Candy's Room or something like that. Like, even that one, for whatever reason, it just has that quality to it. The same way that, weirdly, this one does, when they couldn't be even further apart. Topically. It's just stunning. Like, incredible. It's like what takes him from being like a great or an amazing artist to be like this perfectly unique artist. I love the piano here.
You used to say your prayers, little darling,
Ooh.
Do you go to
I love the
bed
tone of this.
praying that tomorrow everything will be alright? But tomorrow's falling number, your number one by one. You wake up and you're dying.
This is definitely more in line with Nebraska. Like, it has a darker tone to it.
Well, they shot you point blank. You've been shot in the back, baby, point blank. You've been fooled this time, girl, that's a fact. Right
Oh, this camera's
between
so
the
nice.
eyes, baby, point blank. Right between the pretty lies that they tell. You could feel. You grew up where young girls, they grow up fast. You took what you were handed and left behind. what
This
was
kind of has the same sort of vibe to me.
but what they asked,
Like that
baby,
special-
wasn't right. You didn't have to live
Quality.
that life. When I was gonna be your Romeo, you were gonna be my Juliet. These days you don't wait on Romeos, you wait on that welfare check. And on all the pretty little things that you can't ever have. And on all the promises that always end up point blank. Shot between the eyes. Whoa, point blank.
I know a lot of these ratings are going to change when re-listens because, like, this is a perfect track, but I think, like, this is better than the other perfect tracks we were.
You're walking in the sights. Girl, point blank. And it's one false move, and baby, the lights go out. Once I dreamed we were together again, baby, you and me. Back home in those old clubs, the way we used to be. We were standing at the bar and it was hard to hear. The band was playing loud and you were shouting something in my ear. You pulled my jacket off and as the drummer counted four, you grabbed my hand and pulled me out on the floor. Just stood there and held me, then you started dancing slow. And as I pulled you tighter, I swore I'd never let you go. Well, I saw you last night down on the avenue. Your face was in the shadows, but I knew that it was you. You were standing in the doorway out of the rain. You didn't answer when I called out your name. You just turned and then you looked away, like just another stranger waiting to get blown away. Point blank, right between the eyes. Whoa, point blank, right between the pretty lies. You fell point blank, shot straight through the heart. Yeah, point blank. You're twisted up to become just another part of it. Point blank. You're walking in the sights. Point blank. Living one
I think it's
false
amazing.
move, just one false move away.
Because I do love it. I think it's incredible. And it does have that piercing quality. But it's like one of the only times where I felt like it's been a bit long. But only slightly, because obviously I still think it's amazing.
They must have shot you in the head.
piano is just so stunning. It makes me wonder what remaster they're using for the Spotify version. What remaster does Spotify? Ooh. I'm not sure actually. Doesn't say. Usually I can find that. This is a nice track. It's so interesting. This is the same tone as Sherry Darling. Which felt like a juxtaposition of like the subject matter and the sound was like quite sharp. Which makes it think there's like a deeper level to the song. Yeah, it's like a desperation. Another amazing track. Cashew. I'd say for now it's like a 7.5. Possibly, mate. It was pretty jaunty tune. It's definitely one of the tracks that makes this album feel like a deluxe, like the reason why it's a double album. Where like it does give reprieve from a bit of like the darker tones, but I feel like Cadillac Rams kind of did that while still furthering the sound. So I'm not sure how much like a track like this is necessarily needed. Like if people like it, then I'm happy if like people can't listen to it. But it's like a piece of art, album art. It just makes me wonder like, sorry, my second's sticky. But it makes me wonder if like it's a necessary track for the album. Despite the fact that I like it. But like his albums are usually very tight, right? Like he doesn't do double albums and stuff, right? Like if you remember Nebraska's 10 tracks, I think one was like 10 or 11 or something like that. He only runs like 8. This is the most expansive album. And it's like, if you cut it back down to even like a longer set list, like a 15 maybe, or 15, it's still gonna be like double the length of Born to Run, but a bit more concise. Despite the fact that I like this song, it's just to make it a more tight album.
Now you say you found another man who does things to you that I can't, and that no matter what I do is all over now between me and you, girl. Well, I can't believe what you say. No, I can't believe what you say. 'Cause baby, I don't wanna fade away. Oh, I don't wanna fade away. Tell me what can I do, what can I say? 'Cause darling, I don't wanna fade away. Well, now you say that you made up your mind. It's been such a long, long time since it's been good with us. Somewhere back along the line you lost your love and I lost your trust. Now rooms that once were so bright are filled with the coming night. Oh darling, I don't wanna fade away. I don't wanna fade away.
One of those tracks that would appear on the back. Especially because it's like a bit of a nature track, which the creator clearly likes to do. And a more niche REM track is what he uses and stuff.
It's not easy for you, in that you've been so lonely, while other girls go out doing what they want to do. You say that you miss the nights when we go out dancing, the days when you and I walked us too. Oh girl, I miss them too. Oh, I swear that I do. Oh,
This is a great track.
now baby, I don't wanna be just another useless memory.
I'll give this an 8.5. This is gorgeous.
fade away. Tell me what can I do? What can I say? Darling, I don't
The desperation in like
know, darling.
relationships to be the savior from this life. The way he explores it's really nice. I might even give it a 9. I will. I love it. It just sounds so nice.
I met a little girl and I settled down in a little house out on the edge of town.
Fall back.
We got married and swore we'd never part, and little by little we drifted from each other's hearts. First I thought was just restlessness that would fade as time went by, and our love grew deep.
I love this track.
In the end it was something more, I guess, that tore us apart and made us weak. And I'm driving a stolen car down on Eldridge Avenue. Each night I wait to get caught, but I never do.
I love the instrumentation.
Yes, if I remember
This has that river
the
quality to
letters
it.
I wrote when our love was young and bold. She said last night she read those letters and they made her feel 100 years old. I'm driving a stolen car on a pitch black night, and I'm telling myself I'm gonna be alright, but I ride by night, and I travel in fear, and this darkness I will disappear.
There is definitely a much dark, like, this album has evolved itself into a much darker album, like akin to a Nebraska, with like the way that it talks about love. It had like this hopeful tone of like, in this great hardship, unity can strive us forward. But there's a lot of tracks now, like especially building on the back half here of like that all just being a coping mechanism and like a facade sort of thing to be able to get through it, and them still being lost after that. And I feel like tonally it kind of fits into Nebraska afterwards. I love it. Yeah. I feel like the story is a tiny bit disjointed from tracks like I'm a Rocker and stuff like that, giving too much of a breather. But like I feel like if it was consistent, like if I made, like, this sounds mean, but if I made like, if I picked which songs to order and that sort of thing to be a certain album, and it'd be like 15 tracks, I feel like if I heard the tracks back to back instead of having these breather tracks into it, even if we're to it, like Cadillac Ranch has a bit of a, like, it's a brighter track, but like it still pushes the narrative forward a bit. If I was, if I, this sounds so egotistical, but if I ordered it, I feel like I could make a perfect album here that really gut punches me. Because there's these moments with The River, there's these moments with even Point Blank and like Stolen Car and Jackson Cage even a tiny bit. Like you could, there is a very nice like concept story that could build here, but it feels like it's not as cohesive as it could be for me. But I love that story, and I love the tracks that I feel push that story further. I can use these, I can see these tracks as like the momentary reprieve that is leading to this person having these breakdowns and reunions that he's building and stuff like that. Because like he's escaping and not focusing on it or not. This is definitely one of the strongest double albums I've heard. Because double albums can be so large and like inconsistent. This is quite a consistent album. I've never heard this song before, I don't think, but like, it feels like I know it somehow. Like I've never heard this. Like it has 4 million streams. I've never heard this in my life. Like this is a not like low key as a 10. I love it. It's very similar to Promised Land, maybe? But like Promised Land is one of my favorite tracks ever, so I do not mind. Oh my god, I just read the lyrics. Do you remember the story of the Promised Land? Makes sense.
Little girl down on the strand with that pretty little baby in your hands. Do you remember the story of the Promised Land?
It's crazy how this is like basically just a part 2, but it's done so well. Part 2 is usually bad.
Could not enter the chosen land. On the banks of the river he stayed to face the price he paid. So let the game start. You better run, you little wild heart.
Like if I'm being honest, this feels like it's on the same level as like the Reverend something. I love the Promised Land so much. And this feels like a perfect embodiment of that.
But just across the county line, a stranger passing through put up a sign that counts the many falling away to the price you pay. And girl, before the end of the day, I'm gonna tear it down and throw it away.
Dude, like, I just feel like Bruce Springsteen is, if not one of just, not one, like, not just one of the best, like, the best. I can't, like, I don't know. Just so good. Eight minutes. Damn. Here's Bob Dylan style track. The piano. Oh, I love how the bass, like drums and everything. Sounds so nice.
When I lost you, honey, sometimes I think I lost my guts too. Yeah, I wish God would
It's so
send me a
delicate.
word, send me something I'm afraid to lose. in the heat of the night, like prisoners all our lives. Yeah, I get shivers down my spine, girl, and all I wanna do is hold you tight. Baby, 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 I swear I'd drive all night again just to buy you some shoes and to taste your tender charm. And I just wanna sleep tonight again in your arms. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my god, it's so stunning. I have so many comments to make about the devotional love that they talk about on this album, but I don't want to pause it just yet.
Tonight there's fallen angels and they're waiting for us down in the street. And tonight there's calling strangers, hear them crying in defeat. Let them go, let them go, let them go to the dances of the dead. Let them go right ahead, girl. You just dry your eyes. Yeah, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go to bed. Baby, 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 I swear I'd drive all night again just to buy you some shoes and to taste your tender charm. And I just wanna sleep tonight again in your arms. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's sad. I love I find it I'm giving it a 10, but like the way that he talks about love on this album is so interesting because we've seen that it sort of has failed when neglected. I like the duties are neglected, but then there's also this sacrificial love that it feels like it's not as healthy. Like it reminds me of like weirdly enough, I don't think on Bruce Springsteen reactions I've spoken about this. I've spoken about this on some other ones. I think like Ethel Cain because there's a lot of like love theme stuff that delves in that. As a younger person, like when I was younger, I had a very obsessive, sacrificial sort of idea of love. Like I didn't care about my sort of well-being. I guess like a good a perfect like encapsulation of this is Valentine's when it was first introduced to me by my mum in grade 2. She explained to me what Valentine's was, and said like you basically like find a girl that you like or you think is pretty, and you buy them a gift of something that they like. I remember I said something along the lines of, "What if uh I don't know, I don't exactly remember the words, but I basically the gist I was brought up as like a little kid was, but wouldn't you feel bad if you didn't get a gift? Like if you were a girl, like wouldn't you feel bad if you didn't get a gift?" And that kind of just culminates into me buying chocolates for every single girl in school on Valentine's Day. I used to have a cool little line of like, no girl deserves to be left alone on Valentine's. I grew up quite poor, and I would sometimes use like the money that I would have from my prior birthday, because it's in October, and I would or like tuck shop money, stuff like that. So like if I was given money for tuck shop, I would go without food some days so I could save up a bit to buy extra chocolates for certain gifts on Valentine's for these girls and stuff like that. And like that sort of sacrificial sort of shit I used to go very hard in the paint for. I didn't care how much it would cost me. I didn't care like the whole like I would drive all night just to buy you shoes. It's like yeah, I embodied that full heartedly. But then I kind of realized it's a crash and burn mentality. Like it's a desperation play. And there's a part of you that like there's part of an ego there because I was very selfless. Like when I was on the surface, so like I would get I would get shit for doing this sort of thing all the time. Especially from guys and stuff like that. Like on Valentine's, getting every single girl in school a chocolate. You're definitely going to be considered a bit of a I don't even know if I can say some of the words on YouTube, but like you would be considered a bit of a simp, uh, slurs for homosexuals, all that sort of stuff for doing that sort of thing, and especially because they would view it as like very fuckboy, very player. You're just trying to get into the pants of the girls. For me, I grew up being raised by a disabled single mother who was a feminist, so it genuinely just came from that point. Like I didn't have any preconceived notions that if I give enough gifts, they're gonna sleep with me or something like that. Like I just didn't care about that. The weirdly enough, I can understand how people would get that interpretation because it's the way that I was like, why would someone go through all of this sort of stuff that and all these big gestures for something that isn't like that, because that's usually what guys are doing it for. But I did it because it satiated like an ego or something within me. Like it made me feel really good about myself that I was doing those things, and that like I very much enjoyed being this caricature of a person that is like the perfect guy that sacrifices him completely. This idea of love, like this thing that I saw as a guy when I was growing up as like the best type of guy in a girl's lens, is this manic pixie sort of guy that sacrifices absolutely everything, that will kind of just like not care about his own well-being because he's put together that it doesn't matter, and that he will drop absolutely everything to be there just for a modicum, like where like he is so self-sacrificial. And I loved doing that. I still love doing that. But what I've learned from like growing up a bit is it's an immature version of what love is like, because no matter how much self-sacrifice you're doing, you're taking parts away from yourself, which means you're less stable. And what real love is like building a union with someone where you're strong enough pillars to be able to help each other out, and you're never going to be strong enough pillars if you keep knocking out the legs of the table to give to the other person. Like, you're eventually going to collapse, and you're always going to do that. And that was like sort of the cycle that I was being put into, and it's this sort of love that he's describing on this, where it's like this, it's very desperation to try and make this perfect life happen, but it's like coming from a different angle and a bit more immature angle. In saying all of that, though, like, I obviously love it and I identify with it. It's just a lot of this self-sacrifice is glamorized a bit too much, and I don't think it bears out to actual happiness. Because, like, now that I'm in a relationship with my partner for like 3 years, and it's built on a much healthier foundation, a lot less of a self-sacrificing foundation, which I do feel guilty about, because it's like, this person I love the most, why haven't I done anywhere near, like, I've done some big gestures, but it's like, I used to do bigger gestures for people that I would vaguely like, because I thought that it was like the most romantic thing on the planet to keep doing that, and I liked being that character. But just so I don't have the same level, I have tried to get better at that, like to be as loving and sacrificial. Like, for example, I'm poor, I'm in uni, that sort of thing, but for Christmas I saved up enough money to spend $1,000 on a present for her, because that would break the fucking bank, because I make like, what, 200 a week or something like that, so I saved up to do that sort of thing, and I want to keep doing stuff like that. But like, building off of a foundation where that isn't the baseline, that's not like what you normally do, is a lot healthier. But the love that he's depicting on here is a lot more sacrificial, and I wonder where it would go in this track and the next track, but it doesn't lead down the best ways. And I can kind of see how like Nebraska could come about from this, because if he's in the headspace where he's talking about like this level of self-sacrifice to be able to give himself like hope in the world, that crash, because I've experienced it, is a massive crash and burn, and I can definitely see how someone can get to like the Nebraska sort of headspace from that sort of perspective, from that crash.
Don't worry, dog. So and don't cry now. Baby, don't cry now. No, don't cry now. Oh, don't cry now.
Like, I so understand this perspective. It's like, don't have the pain, I can take all of it for you, sort of thing.
It'll dry your eyes. Baby, I drive all night. I swear I drive all night. Through the wind, through the rain, through the snow, through the rain, through the wind, through the snow, through the rain. I swear I drive all night. I swear I drive all
I do love the feeling this track gives me, because like, it puts me in the place of that indulging in this sort of mindset, and it really does give me it gives me a shit ton of joy. I love it. We have to be healthier.
Last night I was out driving, coming home at the end of working day. I was riding along through the drizzling rain on a and there was nobody there but me. As the rain tumbled down hard and cold, I seen a young man lying by the side of the road. Cried, mister, won't you help me, please?
It's a lot more traumatic, this story, but it's... I've witnessed someone die from a car crash too. But I saw it from afar, not as like in depth as this. I was driving along, and my mum was driving me home from like the vacation places where we go with family, and I saw a girl get hit by a car, and she like hit into the air and skittled, and like landed on her neck and stuff.
I watched as they drove him away, and I thought of a girlfriend or a young wife and a state trooper knocking in the middle of the night to say her baby died in a wreck on the highway. Sometimes I sit up in the darkness and I watch my baby as she sleeps. Then I climb in bed and I hold her tight. I just lay there awake in the middle of the night, thinking about the wreck on the highway.
I don't think about the wreckage on the highway, but like, that's definitely something that I do, because like my partner goes to bed earlier than I do, because I stay up doing work, like thumbnails and all that sort of stuff. It's like a daily activity for me is when she, like, I cuddle her to sleep, basically get it, like, for her to fall asleep, and then I get out of bed, do some work, and then when I come back, it's like the way I decompress to get myself into sleeping well is just holding her incredibly, like, going and holding incredibly tightly, just like, I don't know, thinking about stuff and how much I love her and all that. I'd say it's a perfect track too. The way that this album is ended is fucking impeccable. This is a really, really amazing album. Especially for a double album. But double albums are always going to have lower ratings for me because I do track averages, but it's a really good album. And I wonder if I like it more than Born to Run. It's hard because, like, this might even be the lowest rated album. It's going to be around Nebraska, which was a 9 out of 10 average. It would probably be similar, but it's such a, because of how much there is here, like, I feel like a 9 out of 10 average is quite a bit better when it's over 25 tracks than if it was over 10, right? I don't know, I love this album. It also, like, Bruce Springsteen, just from, I haven't heard the 1973 album, but now that I've heard Born to Run all the way to Born in the USA, like, this is one of the best album runs of all time, and it's not even close. Like, I can't think of, like, I love Kendrick, I love Kanye. Beatles is, like, decent, but, like, I don't think it's as good as this. I guess I need to listen to Rolling Stones, Elton John, a bit more Black Sabbath and stuff like that, but I don't know. Bruce Springsteen is just something else. I also need to listen to more Bob Dylan. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Absolutely, like, Bruce Springsteen albums are easily some of my favorite to listen to, and I think that kind of bears out in the reactions. Like, you can kind of tell, like, I am wrapped in attention the entire time, and I have mad ADHD, so I can get distracted easy. But his storytelling mixed with just how gorgeous and stunning the tracks are, it just wraps my full attention the entire time, and I absolutely adore it. And it's crazy he was able to do this over, like, one of the longest albums I've reacted to, because there's not many albums that hit an hour and a half. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I absolutely love it. Bruce Springsteen fans have been, it's my channel, most of my subscriber base comes from underground rap scene, because, like, think about, like, I guess, like, I don't know if this comes up as condescending, because it's like, obviously there might be just fucking older people that understand underground rap scene, but, like, I would say it's equivalent to the underground alt rock scene of like the 90s, where like kind of like where like Nirvana and grunge and stuff like that bore out of, but then also like more artists, um, and like new metal and all of that, like that sort of combination is kind of happening in the rap scene, um, with the advent of like not just autotune or whatever, because that came in like that was like popular in like the mid 2000s or whatever, but it's born out more from the fact of people growing up with autotune and with all of these things at their disposal. So like because someone can just have a laptop and make a beat that's like really fucking nice and make a production that's really nice, and like texture and everything, like the barrier of entry is just so large and like so small that like they could like you can get amazingly talented people that would have never been able to have the opportunity to do so. That's why you have like 17-year-old producers in underground rap that make these like incredibly creative beats that you've just never heard before. And most of my fans come from that because I started reacting to them and they've been absolutely lovely. But I do appreciate the classic album list and the reactions and requests that I get from like the comments I get from Bruce Springsteen fans hit me because for me, when I look at Rage Scene, I appreciate all the love and stuff they get, and I treat every single reaction and request I get with as much attention and care as I possibly can, because I appreciate the position that I'm in. But with them, like with Bruce Springsteen fans and older generations, their music, the comments hit me a bit harder because the younger generation, they live on the internet, so they have infinite places to go to talk about their music and their loves, right? Their love for music. Where I would just assume that once I get to like 50 years old, there's not going to be that many places where I can talk about like the music that I love. Like, how many places would I be able to talk about like Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park? So when I get comments with the amount of love and support that I get from like Bruce Springsteen fans, it hits me harder because it's like I don't know, I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to have have that sort of connection with art from people that I don't know if you guys have as many avenues to talk about your music, because I going on a Discord or whatever, it's just now that I'm 25, there's some music discords I can't even go into, um because they're like 15, 16 year olds and it's just a completely different vibe, um and I'm feeling a bit out of place there, so I can't imagine what it would be like if you're 50 years old and then like this the generation gap is just so different. So yeah, I just appreciate having that cross-generational connect a bit more. Yeah, I appreciate this album and I appreciate you guys requesting and supporting all that. Love you guys. And if you want to support further, you can go to Patreon. It's $5 a month to get to request all the albums. You get to pick from classic albums list. There's 360 albums on there that I haven't heard for the first time that I want to do. Basically, if you pay $5, you get to request an album that's 50 minutes or less, or you can pick a classic album. It doesn't matter how long it is. It doesn't matter how long this is. If someone, I think someone paid $5 and they could request this, which is 90 minutes. But that's because it's classic albums on the classic albums list. If you spend $8, you get to request one album that's 90 minutes or less, or you get to request two classic albums that I've never heard before. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Absolutely love you. I appreciate the position that you guys put me in. So peace.